Hello and welcome to another episode of That Solo Life. I'm Karen Swim and I'm here with my fantastic golden voiced co-host Michelle Kane of Voice Matters. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Karen. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic and more so because we have a very special guest with us today and I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. We always love having guests.
We love having guests, but this particular guest, she's amazing. So we have the fantastic Dr. Lori Baker-Schena, who is the co-founder of LeadHERship Consortium. She's a leadership consultant, professional speaker. She works with individuals and businesses to achieve high levels of excellence, productivity, and profitability. She's been doing this for 35 years as a healthcare public relations and marketing consultant and 25 years as a tenured university professor teaching PR and journalism. I am also very proud to call her my friend. Lori, welcome.
Hey, hi, thank you so much for having me. And thank you for that lovely introduction. It makes me sound ancient, which I am, but I'm enjoying every second of it. So thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Well, you have so much experience. It seriously, somebody would be like, oh my God, what is she? 101 years old. She is not. And by the way, footnote, we should add this in the show notes. She does not look a day over 25. So when people look at you, they're like, she couldn't possibly have that much experience. She must have been like a child genius. She's like the Doogie Howser of PR.
Yeah.
Whole Dorian Gray thing going on somewhere.
Oh my. Yes. Well, thank you for that beautiful introduction.
You are so welcome. I'm so happy to start this post-holiday week with you because it doesn't feel like the first day of a week at all. I was so excited to get up this morning knowing that we were going to have a chance to talk to you and about all the incredible things that you've been doing. So your organization LeadHERship is not that old. And I know that people, and by the way, it's LeadHER, HER, ship, all one word. We'll give you in the show notes, Lori's website and how you can find out about her. But Lori, after, all of the things that you've done, teaching public relations, practicing public relations, what led you to start LeadHERship Consortium?
Well, it's kind of like a legacy dream for me, Karen and Michelle. I started out, and I relate to you all so much because I have been a solo PR practitioner since 1987, August 1st, 1987. I became a public relations practitioner in the medical realm, and I still do some PR for clients. So it's just a wonderful thing. I just love being a solo practitioner. And then in the meantime, I decided that I also wanted to teach. So I became a part-time professor at Cal State Northridge teaching journalism and public relations. And that was a dream. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up becoming a full-time professor, and I still kept my solo PR practice going because you can do that. And it helps on so many levels. And then about 6 years ago, I decided, you know what, life is short and dreams are big. And I've always wanted to be a motivational speaker. So I decided to retire from teaching. I was a tenured professor and I left, which is phenomenal, I think, in itself, because it does show that you really do need to move out of your comfort zone to really pursue your dreams. And I wanted to become a motivational speaker and a leadership coach. And on my way, I also got a doctorate in organizational leadership. I had an MBA, but I got a doctorate in organizational leadership. And so I really loved the leadership space. So I was doing leadership consulting for a couple of years. And then a good friend of mine, who is amazing and lives away all across the country. I'm in Los Angeles and she's in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. We looked at the space and we realized that there was such a lack of training for women leaders in the workspace. And that really struck a chord with me. Everywhere I went, I saw that women leaders were promoted and they were, they had finally had a place at the table. They finally were promoted, and they stumbled hard because no one gave them leadership skills. And this just wrecked me, because all the work we're trying to do, and if you can't stay in a job because you don't know what you're doing, because you don't have the tools, then what are you going to do? So we decided last year to launch LeadHERship Consortium, and we're focusing exclusively on women. Though we love our men, and they're welcome, more than welcome to come with us, at our conferences. But women have an extraordinary opportunity, but extraordinary challenges in the workplace. So we launched this company to give women the leadership tools they need to be productive and to be successful. And what makes us unique is that I give really practical advice. I mean, how to lead teams, how to manage change, how to deal with conflict. But I layer it with motivation, because I'm a motivational speaker at heart. So women walk away from our trainings and our conferences not only with great leadership tips, but really feeling empowered and motivated to live their best life and live it in a very positive, joyful way. So that's what LeadHERship Consortium is all about.
That's fantastic. Wow. And just the whole realm of organizational dynamics that hits my, well, I'll say that about myself, my nerd chord of, ooh, that's fascinating. But anyway,
yeah.
Well, and I imagine too, you're getting women from all walks of professional life, right? What type of woman attends one of your conferences? It's
incredible. We have a wonderful video on our LeadHERship website about our conference this past year. And we have it from every industry you can think of, from pharmaceutical and healthcare to real estate, to academics, to nonprofit, to government. And we attract professional women from the full spectrum of industries. And it's wild that they all relate to the message that we bring out, because it is, no matter where you are in the workplace, it is so difficult to be successful sometimes as a woman leader, because our expectations of us are different, the way we respond are different. And that extra layer, I think, really, really helps any woman in any type of environment, any type of industry. And we heard back that people loved meeting women from other industries, because many times women attend conferences that are like industry based, like
right.
Versus we'll go to a nursing conference, and this was everybody. And we had young people and older people and a diversity in ethnic background. I mean, we just all came together, and that common thread of being a woman in the workplace is so powerful. It was amazing. We did so much networking, and people got new business. We had a lot of entrepreneurs. It was just incredible.
Oh, that's so cool. And, we know, of course, they get a wealth of knowledge from you, but what do you find that you have learned from the people that both attend the conferences and also from the people that you coach? What are a couple of your main takeaways?
Michelle, that's a really good question, because I learned so much from my clients. But it's, weirdly enough, the thing that I've really observed lately, which is going to be the topic of my keynote speech next year, is how women speak negatively to themselves.
Oh yeah.
That negative that negative self-talk is almost universal. Mm-hmm. And the reason why that surprises me is because I don't do that. I have never negative self-talk to myself.
That
ever.
Is fantastic.
And I just, I feel, I mean, I had my life story, which I've had a hard life. I've had a lot of losses. I am a cancer survivor. I was bullied as a kid. I mean, all this stuff, but through it all, I never negatively talk to myself like, oh, you did this wrong, or oh, you shouldn't have done that, and so it was eye-opening that women do this. And I know that sounds really basic, but it is universal. And I feel that we have so much negativity in the world, and we are running up against so many challenges, that why should we talk badly to ourselves? We should be holding ourselves up. And you can hear it in our language. We're always apologizing. We when someone gives us a compliment, we can't just simply say thank you. We have to say, oh, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And so the first thing I do when I coach is to start from the core of a woman's psyche. And I'm not a psychologist, I'm just a leadership consultant. But I got to say, you've got to stop beating yourself up.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
And once you start doing that, and once you start owning your talents and your strengths, and once you start becoming that powerful woman, everything else will fall into place. But that's where it starts. And that is what I've learned most of all.
I completely relate to that and have had to work on that because I am somebody who did do that, and
Me too.
And you're not always aware of it. And I had to really train myself to say, hey, wait a minute. Why are you doing that? You would never speak those kinds of words to a stranger on the street or to someone you knew. So why would you say those words to yourself? And I can vouch that Lori is one of the most positive, upbeat people in the world. She always has been for years. We have this mutual friend, Sonia, and Sonia and I are always like, how's Lori? Well, we know how Lori is. Lori's always good. She is like the human personification of rainbow, sunshine, and unicorn. She's amazing. So she truly is living what she speaks. Lori, the negative self-talk is interesting. And I'm wondering, because it feels like, and I'm sure a lot of people will be thinking this, it feels like over this past year or so, women are truly having a moment. And in some regards, that's true. However, as you pointed out, there are still so many areas that we have not progressed in. We don't get equal pay. We don't get promotions. And even in a field like public relations, which seems to be dominated by women, the leadership is still majority men.
Yeah.
So even though we're having this moment, what are some of the gaps and challenges that you see that keep us from not just having like this kumbaya moment where we're addressing and talking about the issues of the past, but moving forward beyond that and sort of taking ownership of the things that should be ours?
Well, I think, Karen and Michelle, it starts with not knowing our value and not being able to ask for what we need. Right. If we don't value like how much we charge, especially as PR people, how much we charge, or when we're in a room full of men, to be able to be heard in a room full of men.
Right.
We need to start learning how to embrace our value and to communicate our value in a way that other people hear us. There is a way to navigate the workplace that you don't come off as, you could be assertive and effective without putting people off. And you can be, and it's all about energy. So I'm all into this whole energy, like with the energy you bring to it and the value you feel about yourself. All of those are key to be successful in the workplace. And women, we're at the table now. We're at the table. Now we have to take advantage of that. We need to be heard at the table. And that is what's so crucial. And so that as we move forward, I think we're on a roll. Now we have to be taken seriously. But I have to tell you, we're not going to be taken seriously unless we take ourselves seriously. And again, it starts with knowing our value and not being afraid to ask for what we need and what we deserve.
It's something
I think that, go ahead, Michelle.
No, it's just as women, sometimes that's difficult, actually, to ask for what we need.
Exactly. And I always say, what's the worst that can happen if they say no? What's the worst that can happen? You're not going to get cancer or anything. You're not going to die.
Exactly.
You're just going to say, okay, then I'll try something else. We are such people pleasers and we're so afraid of being hurt. That emotional layer for us is not doing us any good in certain circumstances. Sometimes it's fabulous as creatives. It's wonderful to have that emotional, this is my passion thing. As creatives, it's wonderful to have that emotional thing. But in the workplace, we really have to learn how to put our emotions in a kind of a box
Mm.
and look at life very objectively and work very objectively. And if someone rejects a proposal, they're not rejecting you.
Right.
And so all of that is, it's so subtle, and you don't see that in books, but that is what I preach. That's what I look at. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and you've hit one of my personal areas of passion. As in my role at Solo PR Pro, I get to really coach and mentor a lot of our solos and support them as they're building their businesses or going through transitions. And over and over and over and over again, you're absolutely right. One of the biggest issues is people not valuing themselves. And, I've looked at proposals and I've said, why are you apologizing? People feel like they need to, well, should I discount this? Why would you discount what you have to offer? And you're right, women, and I don't, I know that there are men that probably have this issue as well, but I have, unfortunately seen it from more women that they apologize in their emails. They apologize, they just
Yes.
come from this place of apologizing
Yes.
and not just stating it. And I do think it's that, people are really nice and they feel like it's not nice to be assertive and to be confident, because we've seen, the extreme examples of that being manifested in a really unhealthy or unpleasant way. But being assertive is not being mean. It's just
Right.
standing up for yourself.
Right.
And it's bringing energy to the conversation. If you switch out the word assertive for energy, then that's what it's all about. But I got to say, in the classroom, I saw that my male students were much more willing to ask for a raise. They had no problem asking for more money going in. And women, I mean, I've been coaching students for years how to get their first job and what to ask for and how to negotiate. I mean, we just aren't teaching our daughters this. We're not teaching our colleagues this, and that's why we're so behind. Everybody wants to blame men. But you know what? I say, let's take the responsibility back, and let's understand our value and stop being so. This fear thing keeps us stuck. Fear keeps us stuck. We have to get beyond the fear and really start living our lives the way they need to be lived. And as a cancer survivor, it's really easy for me to see that life is so short. I was diagnosed 6 years ago with a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so I'm living with that. It's fine. I'm in remission now. It could come back anytime, whatever. That's what it is. So I just realized that life's too short to talk badly to yourself or to not value yourself or not to ask for what you truly deserve or to apologize all the time. So it's a beautiful way to live. And so you layer all of that information over like how to work in a team and how to manage change and how to deal with conflict and how to communicate and body language. And you can see how our company is so unique is that we can bring all that to the table, not just practical advice and not just motivation advice, but all of it together, because it's so important to bring kind of the total women lead her to that.
And I think what you're doing is, you hit so many nails on the head, but having the support and mentorship of other women is really key, because we can truly help each other. And you're right, we don't teach our daughters to negotiate. We don't teach some of these fundamental skills. And so often, especially for, generations of women, there weren't always other women in the workplace. And so men sometimes had mentors available to them, and we didn't necessarily have those same opportunities, or we didn't know how to ask for those opportunities.
Yes.
So we weren't being taught by people higher up how to do these things.
Right.
When I worked in corporate America, it was amazing. People were always surprised that I would ask for sign-on bonuses and I would always negotiate my offers. For a portion of my career, I did some career coaching, and people were like, well, if I do that, I'm like, they're not going to rescind the offer. If they want you, they want you. Don't leave money on the table. Ask for what you want.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even expecting you to take the first offer. And if that's all that they really have in their budget, they'll tell you that. But if you don't ask, you'll never know.
It's funny.
So true.
Yeah.
And people were like, you got a sign-on bonus? I thought that only happened for athletes. And I'm like, not in my world.
I'll never forget a few years back at the Pennsylvania Conference for Women, Secretary of State Madeleine Albright was one of the guests, and they talked about these very issues with her, being one of the pioneering women. And she said, women do, when you have that seat at the table, women do have to interrupt. We just have to get comfortable with interrupting and inserting ourselves. Of course, you followed that up with, you better be right. You have to have your facts straight. You have to do a good job. But there will be times where you have to step past that conditioning and fear and put yourself out there.
Absolutely. And fear is, again, Michelle, fear is that key word. When you go into a negotiation from feeling empowered versus feeling fearful, you're going to have a different result. So my goal is to get women feeling empowered. And when you do that, then everything shifts. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I do. I'm writing a book. I'm trying to write a book because it cracks me up. I've been writing this book forever, but eventually, but my whole deal is I have this whole thing called the solution shift. And what this is instead of living in the problem, we live in the solution. So instead of focusing on, oh my God, everything's happening to me and oh, poor me, and this is the problem. And they talk for 500 hours about the problem, state the problem and then take that same energy and figure out the solution. So live in the solution. And when you do that, you go from victim to empowered. You go from the darkness to the light. So you live in the solution. And that's how I live my life. I have a problem. Okay. I look at it, I analyze it, and then I let it go and figure out what to do. And not to say it happened when I was diagnosed with cancer, I've got cancer. What am I going to do? It's not like, oh my goodness, why me? I never asked that. I said, okay, what can I do? Who can I go to? Where can I turn? And that's what you do. So that's how I teach that whole idea that you cannot live in the problem. Michelle, the other thing that you asked me, what my clients are teaching me is the whole work-life balance thing. It is on everyone's mind. And I remember listening to your podcast about this, which really energized me, because at the end of the day, it is all about energy. And we talked about energy and where you're going to put your energy. Right. And I refuse to say work-life balance anymore. We're going to use the word work-life flexibility. And I'm actually my Pennsylvania conference coming up. That's what I'm talking about. That whole flexibility, because we only have a certain amount of bandwidth. You can't change that. We only can do so much. So where do you put your energy, and where So you both really inspired me on that podcast to think about. It's true, to think about what that really means, because at the end of the day, it's all about energy and it's all about flexibility. And sometimes you have to be more family focused. Sometimes you have to be more work focused. There's not equal there. It's flex time type of stuff. Right. And without guilt, no guilt, stop guilt. That's a whole thing with me too. You got to give up the guilt that doesn't move you forward. And that's how you live a really joyful life.
I think
I completely agree.
Yeah, that's so smart. And just the fact of work-life balance, I can already feel my shoulders tightening of, I'll never achieve the balance. And there goes the negative thought trail. So by cutting that off right away and acknowledging it doesn't really exist, we're already a step ahead.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. Beautiful. Absolutely. I don't
know if you guys if you're familiar with Jacob Morgan. He's the future of work guy. He's fantastic. Everyone should, check into him. And he has these super intelligent thoughts. And he is somebody for years who's been saying we should ditch that whole work-life balance because it's a myth and it's not reality. It is about, he doesn't call it the flexibility, which I like that word a lot because that resonates for solos. It's really not a balance, just as relationships are never a 50-50 balance. And I think
Right.
that we
Yes.
set ourselves up for negativity and failure when we think that they have to be equivalent, and they're not. On some days, you know what? You're going to give more of your energy to work. And on other days, you may give more of your energy to life. And all of that is okay because, he talks about this fluidity, which I think, especially with technology, is so true, is that it's fluid. There are days that I decide to take off 3 hours in the afternoon and go hang out with my fur baby at a park and just enjoy nature and unplug. And I'm not guilty about that.
Right.
I have a life that has lots of different components and parts, and I don't have to fit them together in the same exact way every day. I sort of give what needs to be given, and I make those choices. And it's a much happier base and foundation than thinking that you're supposed to be balancing this in, equal portions every single day. And if you don't, oh my God, shame on you, you failed.
Absolutely. And that whole choice thing, that's a big thing for me too. You wake up every morning and you choose, I can have a miserable day or I can have a happy day. I choose happy because let me tell you something, just waking up is a win for me personally and for all of us really. And so, those choices that we do are so crucial. And also when we're living our lives, we need to be present. So if you're with your family, be with your family. If you're with your client, be with your client. If you're writing, something for a client, write. Don't worry about anything else. Being present is one of the key to being successful in work-life flexibility. Being present at the moment. That really helps.
I agree. Well, Michelle, Lori.
Yes, y'all.
I'm sure Michelle has some stuff coming up too, but we talk to her every week. So, Lori, you have a conference coming up, one in Philadelphia, but you also have a big conference in February. So tell us about the upcoming conferences and how people can find out about that.
Well, oh, okay. Plug my stuff. I should. I'm a PR person, right? We're having a wonderful LeadHERship conference, a day-long one at the Joseph Ambler Inn in North Wales, Pennsylvania, on September 25th. Coming up, we have tickets available, and it is going to be an amazing, amazing afternoon, a morning and afternoon. In the morning, we're going to be doing the whole work-life flexibility workshop type of thing. They're both basically workshops and talks, and I'm giving the whole I'm doing the whole conference. And the afternoon is my favorite topic, creating your LeadHERship brand. Because leadership, how you walk in the room, what do people say when you walk into the room? And who are you and what do you bring to the table? And once you create that LeadHERship brand, you really can redefine how your whole work life is. So that's really, and it's fun to do. So it's a very fun, interactive afternoon. So that'll be great. And then in February 26th and 27th, we're going to be in the Los Angeles area at the Westlake Village Hyatt. And we are going to have a 2-day LeadHERship conference. It's our annual conference where we bring in people from all over the LA area and actually all over the country actually come. And we've expanded it to 2 days this year. And our theme is finding the balance. So it's mind, body, self. And so that's exciting. And we're going to have 2 days. The first day is kind of a mind body day where we're going to talk about, we're having yoga, and we're having how to manage conflict and that whole kind of with your body and how to, face emotional challenges and all that kind of soul stuff. And then which you can see, which is not my forte, which is why we have 3 amazing speakers. and then on that Thursday we have the LeadHERship conference where I'm going to be giving a keynote address on and I think we're going to talk about the how to be more positive, the empowerment through positivity, which is my whole thing. And then we have a day of amazing talks from entrepreneurial roundtables to managing conflict in the workplace to team building. So it's just going to be a fabulous 2-day event, and women are just, the energy there is so amazing. So you can see the video of that conference by going to our website at LeadHERshipConsortium.com, LeadHERshipConsortium.com, and our conference websites is LeadHERshipConference.com. So don't forget the HER in there, or else you'll get into some weird,
Yeah, that's so exciting. I'm trying to figure out a way to be at all of those things. And we will definitely have that information in the show notes for everyone.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, we will. We will. They sound like incredible, really worthwhile. If you're out there and you're planning your September or even looking ahead to February, I'm sure we all suffer from it too, of what can I fit into a month. Make sure if you can to carve out time for one of these events, because you'll definitely be better for it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And February is far enough away that you have time to plan and you can get your flights and everything early, so you'll be fine. It's in a great area of LA because I'm a SoCal girl here, so take it from me. And it'll definitely be worth it. So, by winter, you're going to need a boost. And February is the perfect time because it's right after you've set those fabulous intentions for the year. And this will be just the fuel boost that you need to make sure that you hit your goals and the things that you want to achieve in 2020. Oh my God, I can't believe it's going to be 2020. Well, Michelle, Lori, it has been so great chatting today. I am feeling more empowered. Michelle, how about you?
I am. This is a great way to start my short holiday week. And just, what a treat this has been, Lori. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been invigorating, and we hope our listeners feel the same. We want to thank you for joining us, Lori, and we wish you all the best at these conferences, and maybe one or both of us will see you at one of them. And so once again, all of Lori's contact information will be in our show notes. So you make sure you want to subscribe to That Solo Life. You can find us in all your fabulous podcasting channels: iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or our home base of Podbean. But we just are so grateful for you, Lori, for joining us. And tune in again for the next episode of That Solo Life.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.